Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Live with Dowe with yours truly, your bull Marcus Dowe. Each and every Thursday night, I come to you live sitting down with a new small business owner. We sit down at the table and we just exchange information on what it takes to be successful in the world of entrepreneurship. It is an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be able to sit down with these small business owners as we do exchange this information, because what I understand as being a small business owner myself, sometimes you do tap out. Sometimes you reach your ceiling and you have no other outlets. So when you network and you join into the circle of Live with Dowe, you start to learn a little bit more from other people, what you can take back and help benefit yourself. So each and every Thursday night, I sit down with these business owners and we just sit back and we kick it, man. We have a good time, we laugh, we joke, and we just exchange those tools, because it is very, very important to have a circle of like-minded individuals. Now, not only do I sit down with small business owners, but I also sit down with people who have a nonprofit. So if you are someone who has a nonprofit that you're trying to expose, you're trying to highlight even more, this is the platform for you. If you've been through some things in life and you have a testimony to share, you feel as though people should hear your experiences that may be able to change their life, this is also the platform for you. So I need you to go up. I need you to follow this page at Live with Dowe. I need you to hit the notify button so that every time I do go live, you'll get an opportunity to see who I'm sitting down with. So make sure you do those two things. Now, tonight is truly, truly an honor for me to sit down with my next guest. My next guest is a native of the Penns Grove, Cornish Point, South Jersey area. Also used to be a student of mine. So it is an honor and a privilege to be able to sit down and just watch them grow and talk about the experiences of life, of things that they have done leaving the Salem County area. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to some and present to others, Mr. Kyle Hickman. Some of y'all may know him as KyleWow. Welcome,
yes,
brother.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, what's
Thank
happening?
you for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. It's a privilege, honor and a privilege for being here, man. Come on, sit down at the table.
Appreciate it.
So how's things going, bro?
Everything is good, man. Everything is good. You know, I can't complain. Still working.
Working, yeah. So I'm happy to have you here, man. It's been since 2010 since I had you in the classroom, and now here we are 15 years later, man, and seeing where you are. I'm excited for them to walk the path and the journey of your life, of what you've experienced. We're gonna have some fun tonight. So I just want just sit back, relax, and talk about the life of KyleWow.
Okay.
So before we go ahead and get started, why don't you just tell everybody who you are? As I said, you're from Penns Grove, Cornish Point, but go ahead and tap in a little bit more.
So my name is Kyle Hickman. I'm a working artist. I'm from Penns Grove, New Jersey, class of 2010. Go Devils. I am, just to be honest, I am a college dropout, Savannah College of Art and Design, but I ain't let that stop me. So I'm still working as a tattoo artist. I do graphics, I do logos, do a lot of fine art, and I also am getting into some fashion.
So listen, Kyle, so we can talk on a personal level because we're both from this area.
Right.
Born and raised right here in Penns Grove, Cornish Point. Very small town, very small area, very small population. But we do have people who have big dreams, big goals, big things in life.
Right.
How was it for you growing up in Penns Grove? With not so much around here, how did that, play a factor in your mindset of life?
So for me growing up, I kind of had two different environments. So my mother is from Penns Grove, and the beginning of my life. Mm-hmm. So between, from birth to like 5 years old, I was with her in Penns Grove. My father lived in Wilmington, Delaware. Okay. So actually from 5 to about like 12, I lived with my father in Delaware. So, balancing that kind of, what do you call it? Co-parenting life, I kind of had the slower Penns Grove vibe, and I also had the Wilmington, Delaware.
City vibe, right?
Now, Wilmington isn't a big, huge city, but, the smaller you are, the more you almost want to emulate the things that you see from bigger cities. So, at that time they were going through some stuff. So around 8th grade, I moved back here and, just started my journey on art, getting more serious as I grew up. I had some great teachers in the Penns Grove situation that, made me believe that I could live as an artist, because before then it just seemed like a hobby.
So let me just stop you right there. So you did the co-parenting thing up until about 5. You was here in a small area,
Right.
and then getting transitioned over into Wilmington. As you said, it's not a very big city, but it's a faster area than what we experience
For
here
sure.
in Penns Grove. Coming back, did you find yourself having more of that city life mentality, or was it something that you was chasing to get back into the small area?
I honestly think that I was looking to slow it down, you know what I mean? So in Delaware, I had friends and we were getting into some trouble. Some of my cousins were getting into trouble, stealing cars, breaking the law basically. So my dad knew that, it might be better for me to go somewhere slower, and myself too. Number one thing I wanted to do at that age, 12, was to play football. And then looking over here, seeing the culture of sports, and how it's just people walking around going to practice basically with pads all day and stuff like that. I was seeing that, so I was like, I want that rather than the people over here. They getting into the street stuff, and I honestly
So
just
you
wanted
kind
to
of
be a
you kind of
kid.
left that street when you came back over the bridge.
For sure.
And was that something that was like on your own mindset, or was that something that your father, your mother was like, listen, we got to kind of change this mentality because we don't want you going this route?
Well, I'd be wrong if I were to say that if my dad didn't have a part in it, but myself also, I knew I was different than a lot of guys that were in the street. It wasn't
You
for
just
me
wasn't built
early.
like that.
Yeah.
You knew you wasn't
So
built
I'm
like
like,
that.
I like this type of stuff. I like to play. I like to ride a bike. Like you guys, y'all into stealing stuff. Y'all into getting it. So I'm like, it's not for me, and that's fine. Early on, I knew that it was fine for me to, like what I like and not like what,
Well,
not
see,
be into what I'm not into.
the part that you didn't even realize was that you were setting yourself up for greatness, even
Right.
way back then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Understanding that life wasn't for you, because too
Right.
many times our young men, they get trapped in environments that they know they're not supposed to be in,
For
but they
sure.
still stay there. And then by that time, they're in the rabbit hole looking up. So, kudos to you for recognizing that wasn't your life, and, trying to move over. So you come back over here, you come back in you about 8th grade,
Yep.
which is the middle school, and you're talking about art. Was art always something that you had a passion for, that you loved? Did you get yelled at in class for just doodling when you're supposed to be paying attention? How'd that work?
Well, I got in trouble I used to go crazy. I used to go straight to the board. So I don't need everybody to see what I'm got going on. I remember I was in the middle school and I was drawing like the street names of the town. I did like a Phil Street, and I was trying to make them all look a little bit more tougher than they were.
Then they were actually right.
So I had the F on the Phil Street was a pistol and stuff like that. I got in trouble for that. I think his name was Mr. Bradford, got on me back in the day. But yes, I mean, doing art was always a part of my life. I would probably say more high school, I became serious. Like I was able to draw. People would be like, oh, dang, you did that. I would get that response. But I was never like, I want to be an artist. You know what I'm saying? Probably at that time, I was probably more into the sports lifestyle. I wanted to be, in the NFL or something like that. But, the older I got and the more people I met that were artists, they kind of inspired me to be more serious about it.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that, because even in this time and day, I'm still sitting here teaching in Penns Grove, and you ask a lot of guys, a lot of kids, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And their first answer is always, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to play in the NBA. It's never I want to be an artist, or I want to own my own business. It's none of that. Is nowadays, is I want to be a content creator. I want to be a YouTuber.
Streamer.
Streamer at some point. But you recognize at an early age that art was for you. Can you identify any type of teachers, any family members, friends that kind of like put the battery in your back to say, yo, dog, like this is your lane right here?
Yeah, and I usually don't forget too many people, but I'll say 8th grade I came over here. The art teacher was Miss Cancio.
Miss
And
Cantia.
she
Yes,
saw
sir.
she saw a light in me. She didn't necessarily tell me like, you could do art for a career, but the fact that she expressed that I was talented was a big step. And then in the high school, I would say Miss Stum was the
Okay.
number one
Okay.
influential teacher in my life, period, just because she had the books of art school, in her classroom. She had like a Rolodex of all these art schools, and I never even knew it was a such thing as art school at that time. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I was thinking at the time I was talking to schools for football, and like every time I would talk to them, I knew I liked the art, and I said, "Well, what kind of art program do you have?" And he was like, "Well, we got this business thing, we got this marketing."
It was never the art that you was looking
It was
for.
never the art, you know what I mean? So I kind of knew like I'm looking for something, but I just can't find it. And
Right.
Miss Stone was right there to show me these books. Like you can people make money doing art. I'm like, okay. Show me
Ladies
the
and
books.
gentlemen, you are live with M. Dowe each and every Thursday night, sitting down with a new small business owner, talking turkey about what it takes to be successful in the world of entrepreneurship. So if you are watching this right now, make sure you go up and follow it. And if you are watching later, make sure if somebody can get in touch with Miss Stum. If you have any connections
been looking
with
for her,
Miss
I ain't gonna
Stum,
lie.
make sure you reach out. Make sure you share her this video. Somebody reach out and get in touch with her and let her know that she has made a masterpiece in Mr. Kyle Hickman and KyleWow.
Thank
So
her.
yes,
Thank you.
indeed.
If you
Yes,
do watch this.
yes, indeed. So at what point, Kyle, did you say, I can make it out of Penns Grove. I can make it out of the Salem County area. I need to go somewhere and I need to expand my way of thinking.
So graduating high school, my biggest goal was to not stay around here. And I know a lot of kids have that same kind of sentiment is I want to get up out of here small. So I kind of started off with that idea. Granted, later on in life, I kind of, started to realize the greatness of a clean slate like Penns Grove. I kind of think of it as, you can, make it what you want.
It's your own
at this
canvas,
point.
right?
Yeah,
As
for
an
sure.
artist, is a new canvas, right?
For sure. So, just school wise, wanting to, go on to 4-year school, which didn't work out.
Didn't
but,
work out.
I just wanted to, see other things, So I don't think it was too inspired by art necessarily or my career. It was just, being a child and wanting a new beginning. Yeah.
It's so crazy. You mentioned about, dropping out of school. Because during that time, even when I went to school, it was always pushed in order to be successful, you got to go to college. You have to go to college if you want to be successful out here.
Exactly.
Well, that's a lie. That's a lie. There are a ton of people out here that are successful in life that never touch foot on a college campus. And you have to understand who you are as a person because that's not necessarily the walk of life that you want to go through. So,
Exactly.
you didn't get deterred. Your mindset didn't go down the drain. You didn't get discouraged because you dropped out of school. You made a bigger life for you because there was another path that was waiting for you. You just couldn't see it at the time. What was that thinking once you dropped out? How did you feel about that?
Well, at the time, it was very depressing for sure. It was the worst thing that, could have happened to me at the time. I always felt like I was academically sound in order to be successful, but I just wasn't financially sound enough to go to a school like that. So when I came back, I feel like I needed that because it kind of made me go through something. Even coming back to the town and almost feeling like a failure, I even had a little run-in with the law at that time. But I feel like without any of that, I would have never found tattooing. You know what I mean? Because that same year of dropping out was when I started. So I feel like when I was in school, I kind of had this cloak of dependency. I would be calling. I'll be like, hey, somebody send me some money.
I need something.
I
right.
got some supplies I need. And art school is ridiculously expensive. Like you think about books and textbooks, we got that. But then you got to add it to the materials.
Your supplies,
You're talking
right?
about paints,
Your brushes, canvases, everything.
top of the line stuff that they want you to have. So, you know, after going through that, I kind of told myself like, hey, I don't never want to be that dependent again. You know what I mean?